Hey, welcome back to another episode of It's a Football Thing. As usual, I'm your host RJ and joined by my champion co-hosts Scott the Goon and Rob the Red Devil. How are we, guys?
Ready to go.
Absolutely beaming, boys. I'm pumped for this.
Well, as we like to say, even though it's the end of the domestic campaigns, we have something pretty big and special for you all throughout the month of the Euro campaign. As we like to call it here, it's a Euro thing. However, on top of the usual platforms, podcasts, Spotify's, the whole shebang, we've got something very special lined up for you. Scott, tell us all about it.
If you're joining us via YouTube, welcome, because this is the first time we've made the foray into the wonderful world of YouTube. So you can find our channel if you search IFT Pod on YouTube. Please join, subscribe, like, comment, hit the notifications bell. All those things will help our channel and our pod grow. So we're doing this for you guys, but we're having a heck of a lot of fun along the way, aren't we, boys?
100%.
Absolutely. I think the point here is that we've loved what we've done so far. This is about just reaching out to new territories. We've gotten some feedback from people. And at the end of the day, we like to keep things fresh here on the IFT pod. So that's what we're doing, and we hope you enjoy it.
And can you believe the Euros are here already? Like, I feel like it was only the other week. We're talking about the Premier League and Leicester buckling and champions of Europe and flops of Europa.
No, I've been waiting for ages, especially with the whole the Euro extra because of the COVID situation. I've been absolutely busting for it. So I've got a little checkboard off at work, been ticking off 2 sleeps ago like a little kid at Christmas, man. I'm pumped.
I've got to back that up, because for those that don't see the group chat between Scott, Rob and I've never seen someone as prepared and organised for this upcoming tournament. So if you thought we were pumped, Rob is super pumped. And for those that are tuning in via audio only, I've got the Italian flag in the background. Rob's got his signed Azzurri jersey, and Scott's got his famous old school retro French jersey on. So we're very Euro themed out here, but we're ready to rock and roll. So why don't we get stuck into it, boys?
Let's do it.
And in terms of our plans for the Euros, this obviously is our preview show. So we're going to do a little bit of a general preview today. We'll talk about the groups. We'll talk about where we think things will fall in terms of those groups. And boy, there are some really tight ones. We'll then look at some of our predictions for later in the tournament. All of us have made predictions for the knockout rounds and our winners. We'll look at who we predict our player of the tournament may be, and also highlighting a couple of players to watch. So this will be a preview, but we'll also be doing a show at the end of each match day where we look forward to the next one. So, boys, big things coming. We need to look at these groups, don't we?
Absolutely.
Let's get into it, boys.
All right. And for those that are tuning in via podcast, we're just displaying the groups up, but we're going to talk our way through them with you. Let's start with Group A. Italy, your country.
Enough said. That's all you have to say.
Switzerland, Turkey, and Wales, boys. How do you see this one lining up?
Look, it'd be
Robbie,
nice
you go
if
first.
obviously, like I said, for those who can't see, Italy is on top of the table right there. So I'll be quite happy if it stays like that after the 3 match days. But I actually think this is a lot of people straight away look, yep, Italy is the favourite for this group, which I think they probably are. But I personally think this is actually quite a competitive group. And Turkey are the ones that are, the little challenges for me. I've been talking them up quite a bit. So, yeah, if I'm predicting the kind of who I think will advance, I'm going to lock in Italy for first position. I'm putting Turkey. And then I think Wales could go third, and then Switzerland last on this one.
Yeah, for me, I don't know. Like, I agree with you, Rob, that I'm backing our Heritage Italia to top the group. I think we will get through comfortably, but not as comfortable as some suggest. So what I mean by that is I think there are some teams in there that might cause a few shocks in that group. I do see what you mean about Turkey, but I've got to be honest with you. I'm not too trusting of their defence. That has been a bit of a concern for me in recent campaigns. I know they have tightened it up a little bit, but I actually think Switzerland is going to be the surprise team of this group. I think they've got a pretty decent balance across the board. I know they haven't got the most flashiest of players, but I actually think that they're going to finish second in this group, and I have Wales third, to be honest. But it's a very difficult one.
Yeah, I
it's
think
going to be tight. It's going to be tight, boys. And what do you mean Switzerland have no flashy players? They have Granit Xhaka, mate. So there's plenty of flair there, plenty of solid.
Sure, pal.
Yeah, this is going to be a tight group. I know Rob's got you've got big praise for Turkey. I don't see them getting out of the group. I look at Wales. They've got Bale there, who can be a game breaker when he wants to be. They've got Aaron Ramsey there. Been in some decent form. Switzerland are no slouches either. I actually think this is a really tightly poised group, but I am confident Italy will top it. I actually think the Welsh might sneak through in second.
Well,
yeah, it'll just be dependent on how influential Bale is for them. You know what I mean? Like, I know they've got Ramsey there, but I thought he has a little bit of an injury cloud, but I'm not sure. So that'll be one to watch.
Well, with like I said, I agree. Like I've got Wales obviously third, and they're actually one of my picks to go as one of the third best teams to advance. But with, like I said, with Turkey, you're saying with their defense, I think their defense is actually one of their strong points. They've got from Leicester there, they've got Soyuncu, and they've got Demirel from Juventus. I think they've got and they've got up front, they've got that Barak Yilmaz. He's had a top season for Lille that just won the league title in France. I think he scored 20 plus goals. He's a giant of a guy, and they've got obviously from Milan, they've got Hakan Konahoglu for a bit of creativity.
From AC.
Yeah, from AC. So look, I said, I think it's. I actually think personally, I think it's going to be Italy and Turkey. I think we're actually going to finish 7 points apiece, and I think it's going to be the goals that are going to who gets first position off this.
Yeah, that's fair, to be honest. I think with my point, just to clarify on Turkey's defence, they've been good during this campaign. I'll admit that, but I'm thinking about historical context in other previous major tournaments. But no time like the present, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, and looking ahead to Group B, we've got Belgium, Denmark, Finland, Russia. To me, this is kind of the little bit of a dead rubber group, a bit boring. I don't look at it, and I'm not getting pumped for any particular fixtures. I think Belgium will do the goods in here. They to me are the clear standout. But second, who knows? I mean,
I think Denmark clear seconds.
Yeah,
they've
got some talent. Good goalkeeper. Got Schmeichel. You got Champions League winning defender Andreas Christensen at the heart of the defence. I don't know. I think they've got a pretty good team.
Yeah, I agree, RJ. I think their spine, like you said, Schmeichel, Christensen, Eriksson, and then they've got Paulson up front. So that's a great spine for me.
To me, it's just a bit of a dead group, to be honest. I don't see much happening. So we all kind of in agreement around Belgium and Denmark there?
Belgium, Denmark, Russia, Finland for me in that order.
Yeah, agreed.
Same. Moving down.
Just on that though, Scott, just quickly, what I'm keen to see, because that group in theory should be quite straightforward, from a neutral's point of view, I'm actually quite excited to see the attack of Belgium flourish in this group stage. So that will be something that I'll be keen on watching, the likes of Lukaku, De Bruyne. Hopefully, my old boy Eden Hazard overcomes some of his injuries and rips it up.
Yeah, I think Lukaku is in for a good time during the group, and I know we'll talk about the fantasy Euro comp later, but for anyone joining and trying to give me a run for my money, I've got big bad Lukaku up front, so I'm hoping he tears this group apart.
Same here, Borgie. Me and you both.
You copied me as usual. Let's look at Group C. We've got Austria, the Netherlands, North Macedonia, and Ukraine in here. Your thoughts?
I'll go on this one again first. For me, I'm actually going to pick a bit of a smoky on this one. I've got Ukraine topping this group.
Wow.
Ukraine followed by Netherlands, North Macedonia, and Austria fourth.
Mate, what's in that pink water bottle of yours, Robbie?
Mate, listen to the expert, man. I'm the one that watches all my leagues and all my nations leagues and stuff like that. Look, honestly, Ukraine out qualified Portugal qualifying for the Euros, which was a great effort. And look, there's not a lot of stars in that team. Obviously, you've got Zinchenko from City and Yarmolenko from West Ham, but they've got this is the team that won the under-20s World Cup a couple years ago. So their core is it's just the positive is as a collective they're a really solid team. And for me, Netherlands obviously is the big powerhouse of that group, but I think their
The
biggest
form's been shaky.
their form is shaky. Obviously, no Virgil van Dijk and have just lost Donny van de Beek yesterday to injury. But I think their worst negative is their coach, man, Frank de Boer. I just don't rate him at all. And I think since he's taken over after Koeman got the job at Barcelona, I don't rate them at all.
No, I don't know. I think you're being a bit harsh on Netherlands. I think they've got some quality players in De Ligt there, in Depay, who I thought's come back pretty good for them. I take your point. They're not the same Netherlands of yesteryear, and I'm not a big fan of their manager by any means. But I think overall, when I look at their team, I think them and Ukraine will progress, but I think it'll be the other way around. I do think Netherlands top, Ukraine second, Austria third, and obviously North Macedonia on the cellar dwellers. But I'm actually quite keen to see how, I know we're going to talk about players to watch. I'm not giving anything away with De Ligt, but I actually like players like De Vrij, that Blin, he's not too bad of a player. Obviously, Ronaldo. So I don't know. I think they've got a decent team relative to who they're conversing.
On paper, I agree. I think they are. Just from watching them lately, I just don't think it's happening for them at the moment.
Yeah, I think the caveat though, with any of these qualifying campaigns versus the big dance, once it enters the major tournament, I think you see very different teams. That's my assessment of it.
100%.
Boys, we will probably have a bit of a chuckle because it comes up often. A lot of our friends over in the UK have already started singing that it's coming home. It's fitting that we're moving to Group D with Croatia, the Czech Republic, England, and Scotland. Now, this isn't the fabled group of death. We'll get to that later. But this is by no means a sitter to predict. RJ, what do you think about this group, man?
Yeah, it is a tough group, no doubt about it. 4 quality teams, in my opinion. I would be lying if I didn't say that I thought from a talent on paper point of view, I would pick England to top this group. But we do know the criticism that Southgate does get for being perhaps slightly too pragmatic with his decisions and a little bit too defensive at times and not letting the attack flourish based on their natural skill. But there is something about this team that I think that in my head, I've just got this instinct that I think that they're going to go pretty far in this tournament. And that starts with a topping of the group here. In terms of second, third place, this one starts getting a little bit more complicated for me. I still think that Croatia will come second in this group. However, there is some question marks about that aging defence. That is a bit of a concern for me. But they've got some real experience in that midfield position, obviously with the likes of Modric in Real Madrid and my boy, the Croatian sensation, Mateo Kovacic. So, yeah, they are the top 2 for me. Third place, I don't know. Scotland's a bit more defensive minded, but they've got the young Scottish Iniesta, Billy Gilmore, in midfield. So I think he's going to do some wonders for him. So I reckon they might be a sneaky third. I don't know. It's a tough one. What about you, Rob?
Honestly, man, there's not much that you said that I don't disagree with in that. I pretty much did nearly everything. I do think the same. I think England should top this group, but same thing. I think Southgate needs to pick his best team and go out and not be scared. That's the thing. Like, they've got so much talent and skill and goals in that team, but I think obviously because of, a few, people like Harry Maguire might not be fit for at least the first game. They're going to have to make a decision if they're going to go a 3 or 5 at the back instead of a 4, which could hurt them. But I think if they play to their advantage and go and try and score goals, I think they should top this group. Again,
Sorry to interrupt you, Robbie.
No, yeah.
I actually read 2 things this morning. I read that Maguire's back in training with the international team, which is good news to them if so. I also read something from a couple of sources saying that Southgate's planning on starting all 4 of his wingbacks.
I've seen that.
What do you change anything?
Well, look, I think it's silly if he does. There's a lot of people like. as I've noticed the last week, you've had the last kind of final warm up matches and stuff, and I think nearly majority of the teams have nearly picked in their last game, which has only been the last couple of days, and pretty much picked 9 or 10 of their starters that'll start match day one. So England, they've kind of played 2 or 3 different teams so far, and like I said, they've got people like Henderson and Maguire that are injury doubts that might make it, they might not. Mate, no one. I've been listening to Talk Sport the last 48 hours, and that's all their topic is talking about. Who's going to be in this team? Who's the best team to even pick for England? So it's going to be interesting to see that lineup.
Yeah,
and
and I do think also losing Trent Alexander-Arnold's quite important for them. Like he's such an important player from a delivery point of view, and I'm very surprised that they didn't go with James Ward-Prowse there as well. That was a bit of a shock omission for me.
If you take James Ward-Prowse, you have to start him. I know he's a tremendous set piece taker, but it's not like in the 85th minute you might get a free kick in a great spot and you're going to sub him on to take it.
Exactly. I agree with that. Yeah.
To start, and I don't see him starting in that team over some of the other players. Now, I actually think I agree. I can't remember which one of you said it, but to me, Southgate's the biggest weakness England have. Yep. I've watched Arsenal all season not settle on a starting lineup, and I've spoken about how we didn't build chemistry. We didn't look smooth. I see exactly the same problem for England. I think Southgate was too scared to make tough calls. Henderson shouldn't be there for me.
100%, I agree.
He could have taken Henderson. He could have taken someone else there, and there's plenty of options. But
yeah, to be honest with you, bringing in I hear your point about Ward-Prowse having to start, but to be honest, bringing in another backup in Ben White, I believe it is, to me, that's being a little bit extra cautious, and that typifies Southgate's mentality. He's too busy thinking about insurances and risk management. He should try to be thinking about using this talent in the squad, because give them to another manager, give them to a Tuchel or give them to someone else. This guy will do wonders with that group of players. And remember, this is obviously my Chelsea bias, but some of these players are Champions League winners. So it's not, you can't tell me that on paper this team can't go deep and even win it. So you're right. 100%. It's just that which Southgate are we going to get?
That's
the boring.
It's not even a defense. Like he's going to have troubles picking his attack as well. They've got that much options. Like, obviously the first name on their team sheet is going to be Harry Kane, but after that, who's going to play on the right? Who's going to play on the left? Everyone's saying they want Jack Grealish, they want Mason Mount, and they want Phil Foden all in at the same time.
Who's going to tackle?
Exactly.
Declan Rice.
Yeah, I think he's also the type of guy. Different nations or different games, I think he'll like to play tactical. Like for me, like for instance, for this Croatia game, for me, you got to go pace, man. With their defenders, Asian defenders, I think they've got to go pace for this game, man. I think they'll balls in behind. They've got your Rashford, you've got your Sterling, you've got Foden, you've got your Sackers. I think pace is going to be their main attribute if they were to win this game.
Yeah,
but yeah, just to finish it off, sorry, Boogie. Like I said, I agree with RJ also. I've got Scotland third, and I've got Czech Republic fourth. But I think could be a very hard group, this one.
I think England do top the group, even with Southgate there. To me, it's a toss-up between Croatia and Scotland. I actually think Scotland are going to cause some waves in this group because they are a very pragmatic team, very tough to break down, good chemistry. Their lineup doesn't change often, so they've managed to build some playing relationships. So Scotland, to me, are a little bit of a dark horse to get out of that group in second place, but we'll just have to wait and see. I wouldn't be chucking a significant sum of money on it. Let's put it that way. Looking to Group E, boys, we'll move on to Group E. We've got Poland, Slovakia, Spain, and Sweden. I might start on this one. I think Spain topped this group, even though their team on paper was a lot of controversy around no Real Madrid players and it's the weakest Spain squad in years. I still think they've got more than enough, and they've got a good young core. So, to me, Spain get through this group. I literally have no clue with second place. Poland Lewandowski is not Bayern Munich Lewandowski.
Agree.
Sweden, Slovakia. I honestly, I couldn't even tell you who I think goes second in this group. I have no idea.
Well, I've got like I said, I've got Spain in first. I've got Sweden second. Who are the other ones? Yep, then I
Slovakia.
yep, Poland third, and then I got Slovakia in fourth for this one. And I agree with you, Borgie. A lot of people like Poland's gonna get first or second here because of Lewandowski. Mate, as I was telling you the other day, in the last 3 international tournaments, he's only had 2 goals. He doesn't get the service like he does at Bayern, and not that he's a big game player, but it doesn't happen for him on the international stage. So I've got Sweden that's gonna get second in this one.
Yeah, for me, I still think Poland will get that second spot. I do think that he will get a bit better delivery, but I think the goalkeepers for Poland will be quite interesting. I think they're quite strong relative to, Spain and Slovakia here. I mean, sorry, Sweden and Slovakia. I agree. Spain should, in all reality, they do have a good enough young core to get the job done. No surprises there. I'd be very surprised if they didn't top this group. But it was a bit of a flip of the coin for me. I do think Poland will edge second and Sweden third, but I'm definitely not very confident about that prediction at all, to be honest. And yes, Slovakia, I think, unfortunately, are probably making up the numbers here.
Yeah, it's a tight look. Let's move on. This is the one I'm obviously, as you can see.
What a group.
But for those on YouTube, I'm busting to talk about this group. Group F, this is the definition of a group of death.
Yep.
France, Germany, Hungary, and Portugal. I might go last on this one. I'd love to hear your thoughts first, RJ.
Well, I'll tell you what, France, Germany, and Portugal will be hungry to be in the top 2 in that group. Pun intended, for those who can't see me. The boys are shaking their head laughing at me. But, in all seriousness, this is from a neutral's point of view, this is the best group to watch. Just the three high quality teams, because you could argue that the England-Croatia group's going to be top shelf, which it will be. And I even argue Group A is going to be quite interesting as well. But this Group F, that's incredible. So many class players. And you know what? There's so many class players that probably haven't even been picked for some of these teams. That's just how much depth they've got.
Yeah.
For me, I've got to be honest. I've got to go with my gut and say that Les Bleus will top this group, in my opinion. I think there's so much quality from front to back. And that engine room, Kenny or Kante, my Ballon d'Or nominee, he's so pivotal. Another pun unintended this time, with Pogba. Them two in the French team are so strong. What I'm interested to see, though, is the squad harmony and the relationship with bringing Benzema back into the fold. That's going to be quite interesting because in club world, Benzema has been astronomical for Real Madrid. I think he's been carrying them, to be honest. But then you've got the big game players like Oli Giroud. He's been great for Chelsea. He's scored some really important goals. And his role in the French team shouldn't be underrated or underappreciated. But defensively, you've got Varane and Zuma. There are some really athletically strong players in there. So all around, this is a tough team to beat, and they're going to want to make amends for the last Euros. Second place, that's probably the real debate here. I thought the other group was a flip of a coin. This one here is definitely that. I'm going to have to be a little show my Chelsea bias, and I'm going to go with Germany here. I know Portugal's a hot tip, but I don't know. I think overall they're going to want to prove a few people wrong, given that the form leading up to this stage, people have been questioning Germany lately, and I would be the last team to want to verse them at the moment, except Italy, because we like to play Germany. But everybody else, I'd honestly be very worried to play Germany, although their defence is a little bit suspect. But overall, France first, Germany second, Portugal third.
Robbie?
Yeah, I'm not pretty much the same, man. Not far off that. I do think France should top this group, even though they normally start competitions quite slow. I think they've got enough of quality all over the pitch, like you said. For me, I am going Portugal behind them. I think I think they've got a lot of match winners in that team. Again, all over their fullbacks, their centre backs, their striking power. I think they've got quite a bit of it that should do enough. I do take in for Germany, they are playing games at home, which I think will be a slight advantage to them. But I still think that they will get third. But again, I think that third should be enough, possibly, to get one of those to make it through to the group stages still. And yeah, Hungary fourth. Look, I wouldn't. Everyone's just looking down on Hungary in this, and call me crazy, but the last Euros, they had a couple of draws against Portugal and stuff like that. And in this tournament, they're actually the only nation that's going to have full stadiums at home. They're playing at home in Budapest with under a full stadium. So I wouldn't want to be
Could be an
playing
interesting
them.
impact.
It could be. You never know. So they're not gonna. They're there for a reason. They could be an upset, but yeah, I definitely think so. France, Portugal, Germany, and Hungary in that order.
Yeah, well, boys, look, for me, and you and I had this chat earlier in the week, Robbie, I have a massive fear about France. I've been watching them play in international tournaments since I was a little kid, and one thing that they always do is start slowly, and they kind of just limp their way out of the group stage. And then they go from strength to strength once the knockouts start. So I'm a little bit nervous about France. I actually don't think they top the group. I think Portugal top the group for some reason. I'll get to it a little bit later on. I just feel Portugal are going to have an absolute cracker of a tournament. I think Portugal top this group. I think France come in second, but Germany, it's going to be very tight. I'm just really nervous about the start. I know Giroud is really pivotal to unlocking this French attack. He didn't score goals in the World Cup, but he sure as heck enabled other players to score goals and shine. So, to me, he's a really pivotal player. But how do you say no to Benzema, who has sensational club form, when, Giroud doesn't even start every game? It's going to be really interesting for me as a fan to watch.
And Griezmann as well.
Yeah, always steps up for France.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting, but I think.
Can I just say as well? Yeah, sorry, after you, Scott, go on.
No, you're right. Go for it.
No, the one thing I like about Portugal, and this is what wraps my mind, because I've always been very critical of them being a very attack-focused team, but one thing I really like about them is Ruben Dias. I think he has really stepped up for City this season, except for a Champions League final, which I didn't mind. But apart from that, I think he could be very important for their chances of keeping out the likes of the dangerous French attack, and also the likes of, Havertz and that in Germany. So, yeah, I reckon he's a low-key, top-quality player for Portugal.
And as like I said, he's got the youth and speed, and you can't have any more experience there than someone like Pepe or Jose Font next to him, man. So, like I said, great centre-back partnership there. So it's going to be very interesting. Put it this way, boys, I wouldn't want to win that England-Croatia group, because they're going to get the second place in this one. So from what you're saying, Borgie, it could be an England-France possible round of 16 clash.
Yeah, I'm very nervous about that group A. I think you just know there's going to be fireworks in there with those teams. Like, even someone like Havertz has really stepped up. I'm nervous about him for Germany. He's really entered the season on a high.
Watch Turbo Timo step up and get Golden Boot now.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Don't even get me started on Werner. Boys, some big groups, some big games. Any kind of closing comments on the groups, or anything you think we could maybe look out for?
Well, I think we've unpacked it pretty well. I think the overarching comment is that even though you might think you have a good idea, when it comes to these things, there's always a surprise or two that takes us off course. So I'm looking forward to see what the surprise is. Hopefully not in Group A. I
agree, Arj. Every tournament, like I said, for everything, if you were to put money on all the favourites and stuff, they're not going to win. And every single tournament shows you that a favourite drops out in the group stages, or, a smoky comes out of nowhere that no one was expecting. So I'm sure in a week's time, or by the next match day, we're all going to have plenty of different things to say.
Yeah, boys. Well, why don't we keep that theme of predictions going a little bit further and look at our maps to the eventual tournament winners. I'm going to bring that screen up for those that are joining us on YouTube. For those that are listening in, We'll most certainly talk you through it. I'm just going to bring that up for you because we had some really interesting predictions between us. I've got mine up first here, so I might start by unpacking. Now, we're not going to talk through every single match, but I have got Italy to go all the way through to the semi-finals, and I've got an Italy-France semi-final. That's a classic rivalry, and that's one that would be exciting to watch. On the other side of the tournament, I do have England getting knocked out by Portugal. I have no faith in Gareth Southgate, to be honest. Then I've got Portugal progressing through Spain and beating Germany in a semi-final. So I've actually got a Portugal-France final. I know that's very original when you think of the last Euros. But, hopefully a different result, hopefully a France win. So to me, my tournament winner is France, as long as they can do the business in the group. To me, it all comes down to how they start, because the group stage is their dangerous stage.
So you think as long as they can navigate through that, they'll roll through the rest?
Yeah, I do actually. I know they always go from strength to strength. And I think they've just got a lot of players who have had such good seasons. Like Kante in there will give that whole midfield so much confidence and empower the attacking players to go forward. Whether you've got Giroud or Benzema,
they've got a lot of big game players in that squad, man.
Absolutely.
A lot of experience.
Absolutely. Anything about my predictions shock you, boys?
Nah, not really, man.
Nah, we're good.
Not shock. I think what's interesting is how you get to the round of 16s, because because obviously we're going to diverge slightly, and we'll get to that. But I'm quite interested how you've got Germany now to get all the way to the semi. Like I know on paper, like I said, they should roll Netherlands with all due respect, and probably they have a favourable run if they get to Switzerland. But again, like to Rob's point before, if we're going to take form into account leading up to it, Germany haven't been that good. They look really great on this paper thing, but that whole reverse leg against Macedonia there and what they've had previously with the 6-0 drubbing, I wonder the psychological effects of this on Germany. But they do have quality, and they do have some Champions League winners in the team as well. So who knows? It's maybe not as surprising as I thought in my head.
Yeah, well, let's bring up the next set of predictions. Robbie,
My one.
yours.
All right, boys. Oh, what have we got here? All right, I'll just shout out a few games. In the round of 16 is actually my dark horse derby, mate. Turkey and Denmark. They're my two dark horses. Not to win it, but I think they're the two teams I'm going to watch out for in this kind of tournament. But yeah, as Borgie said, I've got Italy to get the same all the way to a semi-final against France. Unfortunately, I am picking with my head, and I've got France to make a final. And on the other side of the tournament, I've got Turkey and Portugal in the semi-final, which, Turkey have made a semi-final before. I think it was 2002 World Cup. They surprised everyone and got there. Obviously, I do have the same as 2016, and like Borgie, I have a France and Portugal final. And yes, I do have France again as the winners here. I just think they tick all the boxes.
Boo.
I know. It hurts, trust me. Biggest rivalry. But like I said, if I'm going with my head, they tick all the boxes for me.
Now, I'm just shocked at how hard, like, you've really had this thing about Turkey. Like, you seem to have a lot of faith. I mean, looking at that bottom part of your draw, they wouldn't have the hardest route to the semi-final, getting through and then playing Ukraine. Like, it's not the hardest path forward, but what is it about Turkey that gives you so much confidence, man? I'm not seeing it.
Like I said, man, because I do like to watch a lot of football and a lot of internationals and follow the players as much as possible. And like I said, because of some of the players I do know quite closely, look, I think they're one of those teams, Turkey, that they come every now and then. They're not in every single tournament, but when they're there, they make it. They normally go far or deep, and they've got a lot of passion in that squad. Plus, I think they will be playing a few of their games in Azerbaijan, which is pretty much a second Turkey, so it's nearly a home ground advantage as well. And like I said, it's not the hardest route they've got there if they were to go, if that all unfolds like that. So yeah.
Plus Rob. Plus, for those that don't know, Rob's half Turkish. Nah, I'm just kidding. But No, but you know what? I think you like a good underdog story, Rob. And to be honest, one thing I love about these major tournaments is who doesn't love to see a surprise packet come up? And that very well could be one of them that makes it to that stage. So, yeah, it might sound bizarre relative to some of the more conservative choices. But again, if there's any one common theme, is that there's always a surprise. And Turkey could be our surprise, not to win it, like you've said, but to get to the
100%.
semis, which would be an incredible achievement anyway.
Absolutely, it would. And RJ, I've got your predictions up. Yours look a little bit different to mine and Robbie's.
Yeah, because I picked the winning one. So I'll go through it for you. So first up, I want to highlight the fact that we all agreed on Italy versus Belgium, Italy to get through, France versus Croatia, France to progress. So Italy, France semi-final, we've all agreed on that. So that's nice to see. The other side is where we digress. So given how I think things are going to unfold in Group F, this is where we start seeing the disconnect. For me, I do think the couple of games I want to highlight, I do think England will beat Germany. I think they will get through and verse Spain in the quarters. And on the flip side, I agree with you, Rob, slightly that I reckon Turkey will make a bit of a run, but they will see their fairy tale end in the quarters against Portugal. And I reckon in the final, it'll be the mighty Azzurri versus the very heavily fancied England team. And I reckon at the end of it, trying to be slightly objective but being heavily subjective and biased, I reckon the Azzurri are going to surprise it and take it out in the end.
By the way, I absolutely love this. I'm hoping.
Whatever, French supporter.
No, look, man, how good does that look? An Italy-England final, man. That's a fantasy for me, kind of thing. That would be an awesome final.
But the England-Portugal one, that's interesting because I hear your point, Scott. Now I'm sort of a little bit concerned around Portugal have got a very strong team, and England are notorious for not performing to their potential, whereas Portugal somehow find another level. I've just got something in my gut that tells me, again, England's going to go deep, but I reckon that we as in Italy just might be the ones that prevent them going the full way. So we'll see, but yeah, some interesting predictions all round.
Yeah, that's if you get past France, which isn't going to happen. You know that.
If and when.
Yeah, we'll see. There's a long way before that happens. We did also each nominate someone who we thought would be the player of the tournament. Now, I had to bite my tongue a little bit earlier because I would have given away my answer. Do you boys mind if I go first?
Yeah, and just also, Scott, just for the listener on the line, we did put out a couple of questions of the week, which we will read out a couple around overall tournament winner and like a player of the tournament and a player to watch. But yeah, Scott, kick us off with the player of the tournament from your point of view.
To me, I've gone for one of the GOATs, Cristiano Ronaldo. I really have a feeling that this is going to be his biggest international tournament yet. I actually think he's going to get the golden boot as well. And this is pure instinct, right? So come, the end of the group stage when they finish fourth under Hungary and get knocked out, I'm probably going to look really stupid, but I just have a feeling he's in for a big one. I don't think he'll be able to carry Portugal past France in a final, but I think he's going to, carry this team deep. And having someone like Diaz in there who he can trust, and Bruno, the Portuguese Jonjo, having some of those guys around him, I think that puts a little bit less pressure on Ronaldo this tournament. So I think he's going to have an absolute cracker.
But just quickly, Borgen, I'm a massive Ronaldo fanboy. Obviously, a Juve and United fan. I've loved him throughout his whole career. I'm going to be crazy and say I think that Ronaldo could be what can I say? I think he could be the one that holds them back somehow in this tournament.
Really?
Because they've got, honestly, I think that because he is the main man, obviously, and it's like at Juve in the last couple seasons, everything's got to go through Ronaldo kind of thing. I think if we nearly take Ronaldo out of this team, I think they've got a better chance. It sounds crazy. I think they nearly have a better chance as a collective. No, honestly, man. Like, number one, would you play him off the left, the right, or down the middle? Which way? Where is he going to play?
Me, I'll be playing him down the middle. I think you're just worried that he'll take Bruno's penalties, mate.
No, look, for me, Bruno probably doesn't even start for. Bruno doesn't even probably start for Portugal. Honestly,
No, come on.
Don't you want a penalty?
It would not surprise me match day one if Bruno comes off the bench. They do it all the time for Portugal, man.
Yeah, well, look, you watch the most international football out of a lot of us. I hate international football outside of tournaments. So
Yeah.
yeah,
You know what, Scott? You know what about Ronaldo? Because for me, I've never heard of her, but apparently she's all right. But in all seriousness, no, for those that don't know, we have a bit of Messi Ronaldo rivalry. Total respect here. But anyway, in terms of player of the tournament for Ronaldo, what I think might work against him is the fact that he's got a lot of quality around him. So he might not be the focal point. So I reckon that even though they'll naturally look to find him, I reckon they've got enough weaponry around them that he doesn't become their point of attack, so to speak, and that they'll find goals from other sources. But yeah, no, it's definitely a smart shout, so I can see where you're coming from.
Well, who's your player of the tournament? Joe, I can see a player in an Italian jersey, but not too familiar for me. Not someone I recognise. Who is it?
Well, you better get to recognise him because he's going to elevate himself to the top of the stage very soon. And for those that can't see what we're seeing on the screen, it's Nicolo Barella from Inter Milan superstar. I think that in line with my prediction of Italy to take out the tournament, I think Barella, who's had a great season with Inter, who of course won the Serie A for the first time in a decade, I reckon he's going to have a starring role amongst that team because those that have watched Italy as regularly as Rob and I, the one thing about Italy's play is that we've got a strong identity about us. We like to dominate the ball. We're very purposeful with our possession. If anything, the trouble for us lies up top and not having a natural finisher that's in good form. But that's going to change come this tournament, of course. Barella, though, he's someone that's got age on his side, in hot form coming from Inter. He's going to take the lessons of what Conte's brought, plus his good national form. And I think he's going to be the driving force behind Italy's rise back to the top. So, yeah. But I also like the player of the tournament that Robbie's picked. So, Robbie, why don't you share who that is?
Was my pick as well originally, Robbie?
Well, we all kind of took the picks. But as RJ would say, Kenny or Kante. Look, man, this guy here, tell me you can't see him if France win the tournament at the end with his big, cute smile holding up the player of the tournament trophy. You know, look, everyone loves this guy. And if France do go all the way, I can see this guy's going to be him and Pogba are both in midfield, but I just think one of the best CDMs in the world. He just does the job that he needs to do. He's not flashy. And like you said, RJ, you've seen closely with Chelsea. He got man of the matches in like the last 4 games in the knockouts leading up to the Champions League.
On the biggest stage, that's right.
Yeah. I really rate him, and like I said, if they go,
he's the best 2 players on the pitch.
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I originally my thoughts were around Kante, but then I saw you put it, Robbie, and I didn't want to agree. But yeah, so interesting players, boys, that we've all got there. We then also spoke about a player to watch, so someone that to us maybe wasn't someone we thought would be the player of the tournament, but someone who might have a big impact or have a little bit more of a breakout tournament. Robbie, do you want to keep your form up, mate? You want to go here?
Yeah, I'll go quickly on this one. Well, I've picked them as the people that can't see. I've got Federico Chiesa from Juventus, my Juventus. He's been an absolute star this year for us. We haven't had the best season, but he's young, he's quick, he's gets great crosses in the box. I think it was 18 direct goal contributions this year. And yeah, like I said, the only thing is right now he has got a little bit of competition. I'm not sure if he will start at right wing. With him and Berardi are 50-50 at the moment, challenging for that position. But yeah, a lot of people are slowly people in the fantasy world are kind of looking, and he's quite got a big percentage of ownership on him. But yeah, I think he could be, if he doesn't start and he comes off the bench, a great spark to have. Like I said, really, really quick, gets in the box a lot, wins free kicks. So yeah, here's my player to watch, mate. Just also a quick shout. Jude Bellingham from England. I really, really rate him. And if I was Gareth Southgate, he starts for me. He's a natural baller, this kid. I'm sure we all would have had a quick glimpse of him in the Champions League, especially that Dortmund City game. For someone that's 17 years old, he's got ice in
The
his
guy
veins.
who fouled Edison.
Yeah, exactly. I really rate him, and like I said, I think he needs minutes for England to go far and deep in this tournament.
Interesting. RJ, no shocks
Speaking
here.
or keep the Three Lions theme going, one player, I know probably it'd be a bit unfair to call him as a player to watch because in my mind, he's someone that could easily, if things tipped on the scales the right way, he could very well be a player of a tournament candidate. But I'm going to choose him in the category of player to watch. It's none other than, for me, Money Mason Mount. England's got a star-studded squad. And even in terms of some articles and things of research around different players to watch, etc., a lot of the focus is on a lot of these other superstars, like the De Bruynes, like the Harry Kanes, like the Fernandezes, like the Lukakus. But there's someone in every team that makes them tick. And for me, someone like Mason Mount, like he's done for Chelsea, he's one of those players he brings those intangibles. He's not just someone that runs around aimlessly. He brings both quantity in terms of volume of work rate and intensity with quality. He provided that assist for Havertz in the Champions League final. He's someone that under Gareth Southgate, I'd say alongside Harry Kane, he's one of the first names on the team sheet. And as I predicted, if England go deep in this tournament, it'll be because of the influence of Mason Mount. So yeah, I've got nothing but praise for him. And I think it's fair to say on this pod and from everybody I speak to, he's someone that they've got big raps on. So, yeah, I reckon definitely a player to watch in this tournament.
Can I tell you my concern for him, Arch?
Yeah.
I'd just be worried about how he's going to go with Gareth playing him centre-back as a seventh centre-back. How do you think?
Well, I reckon you could put him in goals and he'll do a job for you because I wouldn't be surprised that's where he starts most of the games, to be honest.
Who knows with Gareth? Look, when I was thinking about this player, I really kind of wanted to go with someone who wasn't considered, a star for their team, but someone who I think is going to have a big impact and help make them tick. As you said, I've gone with Yuri Tielemans from Leicester. Obviously, the main man in that midfield is Kevin De Bruyne. I worry a little bit about his fitness for Belgium and how he'll go with the tournament. And I actually think that having Tielemans in there, he's really going to complement De Bruyne. He has the potential to step up if De Bruyne is out or not fit. And I just think he ended the season on a real high. He's quite commanding in the middle. He can play a really sleek pass. He's got a cracker of a finish on him, RJ. You'd know that from experience.
Yes.
And I think he's someone that's not spoken about a lot, but he could potentially have a big impact on this Belgium team if they go deep into the tournament.
Can I just say on Tielemans, though, quickly, obviously he scored that rocket in the FA Cup final to help Leicester win that game deservedly, I'll say, in the end. But for me, it was his all-round game. That performance in the FA Cup final, which he had a starring role in, probably doesn't get highlighted enough about it. He scored the winner. Yeah, that's important, obviously, but his all-round performance that game, he controlled, he hustled. He really hassled a very composed, normally Jorginho. And overall, I think you're right. He is someone that will probably be a bit of an unsung hero, but quite important for Belgium. So, yeah, pretty good shout-out, mate.
Yeah. Peace.
Yeah.
RJ, did you say you had some of the fan comments?
Yeah, I do. I have it in front of me. So first of all, thank you to those who did respond and take the time to answer our 2 questions of the week. So that just to recap, they were your overall winner of the tournament and your player of the tournament. So first up from Matt J. Ball 98. So on Twitter, great content provider. Give him a follow. My pick for the winner is a bit of an obvious one. It's got to be France, but I feel Turkey will be a major dark horse. For my player of the season or of the tournament, I think it'll be either Kante or Mbappe. So that's quite interesting. Another famous supporter of the pod and true Blues legend, Patrick Larson at PTP_COYB. G'day, Pat. Every time I see Pat talk, he just brings a smile to my day. So love you, Pat. His responses were, his pick for winning the Euros is France again. And he's thinking that adding Karim Benzema adds another dimension to the team that is chock full of talent. add in Kante, Pogba, Griezmann, etc., I think they'll be very tough to beat. So that was quite interesting.
Well said, Pat.
Instagram here, sorry, Scott, I'll just jump in with this one.
No,
My
no,
mate
no.
Dino, Chelsea Blues legend, he thinks again, France is the hot pick at the moment. But he's always been a fan of the Germans, and he thinks Kante is the king. So I'm guessing that's who he thinks is going to win the tournament. And second last one here, Crispio4. He says France based on squad depth and quality, but then England seemed fired up with all of their right backs. Player has to be N'Golo Kante if France win, that or possibly Harry Kane if England win. And then the last one we got here, when I can find it, is from my man Macca and Dan McCarthy. So he's a famous Chelsea content provider, and he's got all the lowdown on transfers. He went for either France or Germany also. So, yeah, he did note, though, that Italy are the dark horses after I questioned him about where's Italy. So, yeah, some great responses. I'm sure I've missed a couple, but few good ones there. What do you think, boys?
Yeah, look, mate, we've got a very educated and football smart listener base, and all those predictions are spot on. You can't really argue with any of it. The only thing
one more, Scott. Yeah, sorry, there was one more. And I feel bad. Sorry if I don't call this one out because he's an avid supporter of the pod, Dan Hill. Dan No 05.
Dan was.
Yeah, no, he was one of the first. So he got lost with all the responses, Dan. But he had his pick for the Euros. Again, is France, but suspects Germany or Portugal have very good chances. And the player of the tournament, he put a little video of the one Kante when they won the World Cup. So Kante is a very popular shout at the moment. So, Robbie, you seem to be popular with the crowd.
Yeah, well, that's it. Great minds think alike.
And keep engaging. We'll be putting content out on our social media throughout the tournament. We would love to hear from you guys because you're so clever. And is that, you mentioned Dean, RJ, is that goalkeeper Dean that I went to primary school with?
Yeah, and just for a bit of background, Dean, he's our good schoolmate. This guy here, Scott and I both went to school with him. This guy here, not just pumping his tires because he's a friend of ours.
Quality keeper.
He won all the trophies, like with all the representative teams in our high schools as a goalkeeper. And I kid you not, he doesn't know I'd say this, of course, but I honestly thought this guy could be potential domestic A-League quality type goalkeeper. But eventually he focused on his career outside of football and got a family, became like the rest of us, family men that support football from the outside. But overall, yeah, top quality goalkeeper he was.
Absolutely. I hope Dean's listened to this set. Robbie, I know we normally at the end of the pod, part of our regular routine is doing some predictions for every match in the EPL. And obviously, with there being about 24 matches and match day one, we're not going to do score predictions for every single fixture. But our European football correspondent, Rob, has handpicked some of the more juicy clashes, and we're just going to do some real quick predictions on those.
Sounds good, boys. All right, well, obviously from Group A, our mine and RJ's beloved Italy versus Turkey to open it up at Rome. So what are we going, boys?
1-1 draw.
RJ?
He's just doing this to stitch us up. That's not his real prediction. Can you give a real prediction? Otherwise, you know what? That's a yellow card. One more of those and you're off.
Mate, you've both sat here for 53 minutes and talked Turkey up. I'm going a 1-1 draw.
You know what? You're a bit of a turkey. I'll give you the real answer. The real answer is going to be 2-0 to the Azzurri.
I like your one, Arj, but I have to say, I'm going Borgie. I really think this is going to be a 1-1 draw. I think we're both going to finish with a draw and 2 wins. But anyway.
You know what the saying goes? How can you soar like an eagle when you're surrounded by 2 turkeys? That's what I'm going to say.
I like it. We'll go Belgium, Russia, boys.
Belgium 3-1.
Yeah, I think, you know what? No, I think that they'll keep a shutout on this one. I'm going to go with 2-0 Belgium as well.
Yeah, I'm going hard on Belgium and Lukaku. 4-0 for Belgium on this one.
Nice.
Okay, a big one this one, boys. England, Croatia.
I'll take the heat on that one while you guys think of it a good scoreline. Tough game. For me, I reckon 2-1 to the 3 Lions in the end.
Robbie?
I think this could go 2 ways. if England turn up, I'm going to go 3-0 England. If not, I can see them just squeeze in a 2-1. I'm still going to go England. I think they need this. Always, they're going to have a lot of pressure in their match day 2 game.
Yeah, I'm going 1-0 England. They'll be playing 3/4 of a squad full of defenders, so I don't see them conceding. 1-0 England, Harry Kane.
So which one, Robbie, did you go with in the end? 3-0 or 2-1?
Yeah,
I'll
sitting
go
on the fence.
2-1. 2-1. No, I'll never sit on the fence. 2-1. We'll go this one. You guys were like Netherlands a bit, so we'll go Netherlands, Ukraine.
2-0 Netherlands.
Yeah, I think 1-0 Netherlands in the end.
I'm going to go 1-1 on this one as well. Spain, Sweden.
I'll take this one first up. I think so. Spain, Sweden. I think they will take them 2-0. I'll go again.
Borgie?
2-1 Spain for me.
Yeah, I agree with Spain. I think Sergio Busquets has got he's out with coronavirus. I think in the midfield that's going to be a bit of a loss. But I think if I think 1-0 Spain. I think there's going to be a lot of 1-0 Spain there. Maybe good old Morata might score a goal or two.
Yeah, you don't have faith in their defense, or their midfield attack, Spain. You're not rating them.
No. I think if they're going to win, it's going to be the odd goal every now and then, man. Like I said, they're in transition for me, so there could be a smoky. I'm not sure. They're one of those teams. I just don't know. This Group F, boys, I'm going to go. This is the cracker group of deaths. I'm going to go both games. First, I'll go Hungary, Portugal.
Scotty?
2-0 Portugal.
Again, Portugal will be hungry for a first opening win, so I reckon they will take this one 3-0 in the end.
Yeah, I'll go 3-1 Portugal. And last but not least, boys, what a cracker. France and Germany. Borgie, you go first on this one since you're the Frenchman here.
2-2. I think there's going to be goals. 2-2.
Wow. Arj?
Yeah, tough one. I know France notoriously start a bit slow and elevate as the comp progresses, but I have to admit I am concerned with that back line from Germany, even though they've got the informed Rudiger helping them out, and he'll be buoyed to help out, and obviously Havertz goal-scoring winner. But I do like the dynamism of France, and I reckon they're going to expose them, and I reckon it's going to be 3-1 to them, to be honest.
Yeah, I like that. I like the 2-goal margin. I'm going to go 2-0. I think they'll keep a clean sheet, and I think they'll definitely... Yeah, I think like I said, the only thing that's in Munich, that's the only thing that worries me a little bit for Germany. That's it. And that's
but what a cracking game that's going to be.
Oh, yeah. Some really nice games there.
Absolutely. Look, and another reminder just for all the listeners out there, we are running a fantasy Euro competition. We would love to have as many of you in there as possible. Your prize is bragging rights. For anyone listening via audio, the code is 59ZJGPQN07. But we'll put that out on our socials again. We would love for you.
We've got a fair few in there now, don't we, as well? We've got a pretty good list growing now. So that's.
I was just about to say, really good turnout, man. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see who gets top spot at the end.
Well, I've named my team the Mbappening, and I think that it's going to be Mbappening. I'm confident in this one. The tipping comp, not so much because I flip-flop a lot, but I think I've got this fantasy tournament.
I didn't realize that was your name. I'm tempted to just exit until everybody just withdraw from the competition because it's over.
What's wrong with the Mbappening? I thought it was quite unique and witty and charming.
Mate, Euro United, mate. They're going all the way, I'm telling you.
All right, Azuri DRJ. They're going to win. I
like it.
RJ's Italy.
Hopeless name. I don't like it at all. Boys, a couple of quick-fire questions.
All right, I'll start quickly. Boys, I've heard this has been quite topical the last few days, but which one is harder to win, the World Cup or the Euros?
Yeah, it's interesting. Obviously, you'd think naturally the World Cup because it's a wider database or wider competition breadth. But I honestly think that the quality in Europe is stronger or harder, in my opinion. So I'm going to pick Euros are harder to win for me.
I'm going to say the World Cup only because the European countries tend to know each other a little bit more. You kind of know the players are coming up against, but you can then be thrown some real unknowns when you're playing cross-continental. So, I'm going to say the World Cup.
I think
I think
that's part of my motivation. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the logical thing is the World Cup. I have to agree with Arj. I think the Euros is. I think the competition is a lot more harder, a lot more quality with the players and stuff. And like you said, for instance, it could be round of 16 game. You could have an England versus France or something compared to look at England last World Cup. They got a Colombia.
True.
You can get a Tunisia. You can get a Sweden. You can get a Croatia. And then there's always going to be a couple easier games where it's Europe is stacked, man. So yeah.
But you know what? Yeah, your point, Scott, about familiarity, I think has two sides of the coin to it, because on one hand, you know each other, you figure it out, but that also makes it harder because everybody's familiar with each other, and therefore it's harder to break down. You know what I mean? But I do take your point about the unknowns, and also there are quality players that play in other continents, so you take them out of the equation, so you're not beating the best. But yeah, good question, Robbie. My one, pivoting over to a non-football related quickfire, is favorite Fast and the Furious movie, given that Fast and Furious 9 is soon to come out.
Robbie?
I love them all, but quick fire, I'm going to have to go Too Fast, Too Furious.
Ooh, interesting.
I'm going for the original, man. Nothing like the original.
I was tempted to say one of the last ones because of The Rock, but it's like the Fast and Furious started off as stealing DVD players to becoming the Avengers all of a sudden. But I'm with you, Scott. Stick to the originals, my man. But yeah, Too Fast and Furious was second best for me.
Look, for me, obviously, boys, I'm a bit of a keen console gamer. I spend a lot of time doing that. What's your favorite console and your favorite game? I'm happy to go first if you two need a little bit of time.
Go for it, mate.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of my PC for gaming. Love computer gaming. And I'll probably say the favorite game is Football Manager.
Oh, this is
Football
too
Manager
easy.
or Counter-Strike?
Too easy for me, boys, because I've only got the one option. I've got my PlayStation. I've had them all. So right now I've got my PS4. I haven't got 5 yet. And it's only FIFA for me. It's the only game I play.
Loyal.
Well, I got to laugh at Scott because I like to dub him the king of esports, and that Football Manager one, given he's played 100 million hours on it, it's definitely true that that's one of his favorites. For me, being old school, I love my original PlayStation and Crash Bandicoot. Otherwise, it's Nintendo and go Super Mario. But yeah, we're going to go with Crash Bandicoot on that one.
Yeah, very cool. Boys, I've had an absolute blast.
We've made it. We're at the end of our YouTube trial episode. Help us all for those who've tuned in and watched, to be honest. But yeah, it's been great.
And to those listening as well, I mean, whether you're watching our mugs on YouTube or whether you're tuning in on your way to work or on the train or somewhere, we appreciate what you guys do and the loyalty and the support, the interactions. As you can see, this is just us having a yarn, and this is what we do. We get together, we talk football, but we would love it if you could support us by, if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, like it, give it 5 stars. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, share it with some mates. It's a slow grind, but we're hoping to build this up and bring you up with us. So it's been fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. Just final thoughts from me. It's a Euro thing. We want this month of football. It only comes around every few years, as you know. We had to wait because of the pandemic. There's some cracking games coming up. Rob's got his Italian flag and scarf. For those who can't see it, he's waving around with a lot of pride. For us, though, like Scott said, we've loved the journey we've come on with you, and we hope that you continue to enjoy it, regardless of the mode in which you tune into the episode. So, yeah, keep doing what you're doing, and hope you have a great week until next time.
Boys, what can I say? I'll pick you up 3:30 Saturday morning. We're heading over to Marconi to watch the Mighty Azzurri. Borgie's going to be part Italian for that game.
I'm looking for a turkey jersey in large sizes. They don't make my size. I've got to lose weight to get a turkey jersey.
Just wear your casual clothes, man. You're already a turkey at heart, as I said.
What can we say? It's going to be a Euro thing, boys. I'm pumped. Can't wait. And that's it.
Absolutely. Have a good evening, everyone. Good morning, wherever you're watching. Thank you.
Laters.